What is going on, guys? Today we have here a 2011 Dodge Avenger. This is the 4-cylinder 2.4, and we have a crank no start. Okay guys, so I came early this morning. The car was parked right over there. I pushed it back because I tried to start the car and it did not start. Now right now when I went to check it again, it does start. I know that the fuel pump is bad because I tested yesterday and it doesn't have a good pressure. It does have pressure, but not enough. The good thing about these cars is that we don't have to remove the fuel tank. The pump is actually underneath the rear seat. We only have to remove the rear seat and then we can see the fuel pump. Hey guys, if you're not sure if you have a bad fuel pump, the fuel pump makes noise every time you put the key. It makes a whining noise. That will tell you if your pump is turning on or not, but that doesn't mean that you have a good pump. Another thing you can do is disconnect this hose here and you can see whether you have gas coming out. That way you can cross out if you have bad ground, if you have power coming to the pump. But if you don't want to do it here because it's gonna make a mess and it's probably gonna smell like fuel, you can go ahead and do it over the engine. Let me go ahead and show you where the fuel rail is. Okay, now we're gonna remove this cover, and this is the fuel line here. It's connected to the injectors. These are the injectors, so we're gonna go ahead and press this green tab here and we're gonna go ahead and pull it out, and that way you can see if you have gas coming out of the line, and also you can hook up your gas tester to this line and see if you have the right amount of gas, if you have the right amount of pressure coming through the gas line. Now if you have the right amount of pressure, you're gonna see, you gotta be careful because you're gonna get sprayed with gas, so you have to kind of be careful. Okay, so what I'll do, I'm gonna go ahead and put the key on so you guys can see that gas is gonna come out through here. So you see we had some gas coming out, but I'm gonna show you with the new pump the pressure that we should have. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and put the key to see if we can hear anything coming from the pump. I don't know if it's gonna sound on the video, but I didn't hear anything. So let's go ahead and replace it, and hopefully we can take care of the problem. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and remove the pump. What we're gonna do, we're gonna disconnect the fuel line. We're gonna remove this tab here, and then we're gonna remove the fuel line. We're gonna disconnect this connection, and we're gonna hit it with a hammer and a chisel or a flathead screwdriver till this piece here gets to here. That way we can remove this big thing and then we can pull out the pump. Okay, and another thing that I forgot to mention is when I went to the auto parts, they mentioned that they have two different ones for this car. They have the partial zero emissions and just the regular so they said that the only way that it was for me to know, it was to call the dealership. So I called the dealership and they say there is no way for me to know which one it is because it's only gonna show me one. So this one, you don't have to take it out, you have to press it and then pull. And it didn't say nothing about any zero emissions or partial zero emissions. So I went and go ahead and put them, and now that I'm taking a look at them, they are exactly the same. Just gotta make sure that, remember, it could have a pressure, so if you don't want to get sprayed, get something to cover the line. The boxes were, one of the boxes were bigger than the other one, so I thought one is bigger than the other one, but in fact they're the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this one and see if there's any difference in between them. Now, gonna have to be careful. Gonna clean it as much as possible. You don't want to get any debris, any dust, any rocks inside the pump. Okay guys, so we have removed the pump, and as you can see we have a full tank. Good thing that we have access through here. If not, sometimes dropping the tank with the full tank is something else. All right, so let's go ahead and see which one it is, and hopefully we can see the difference. Maybe they're the same. It's just, I don't know, sometimes they just make up stuff. Okay guys, we have the old one and we have the two new ones, and apparently they look the same. The only difference that I see is this part is not the same as this one. This one looks more like the old one, and we have this thing on the fuel line. This one doesn't. I guess I'm gonna go with this one because it's the one that looks more like the old one, but they are exactly the same. And to be honest, if you only look for the pump itself, which goes in here, they don't say anything about the emissions or anything. So I think they're the same. Okay guys, and to show you the difference, we have one part number, and then we have the other part number. They're the same brand, just different part number, and it's about $10 difference. This one is a little bit more expensive, I think $253 with taxes. This one's $243 with taxes. And another reason we buy the whole assembly is because sometimes if you're not careful, you can damage. This is where your fuel is measured, how much fuel you have. So you have to be careful to install it correctly. That way you have the good reading. And that's why it's another reason to get it new. Because if you get the old one and you only replace the fuel pump, which goes in here, the fuel pump motor, sometimes this on the old one could go bad and you don't have a good reading. Okay, now that this is done, we're gonna remove this cap. Now we're gonna remove this O-ring. I'm gonna clean all around it. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the new O-ring. Now let's go ahead and put the pump in. We're gonna put the float first, and then we're gonna lower the fuel pump. So you kind of have to put pressure on it, because if not, it's gonna spring back. Now we're gonna do the same thing that we did to remove it. We're gonna hit it in the opposite direction, this way, until it locks, until it passes through these bumps here. That way it will get locked into place. Alright guys, so just make sure that the lock is all the way at the end. So now we just gotta connect the fuel line, put the connection back, and let's go ahead and try it. Okay, next, check the pressure at the engine. Hopefully we had more pressure than we had before. Okay guys, so as you can see, the pressure was a little bit more than we saw at the beginning. We had more gas coming out of the line this time, so that's a good sign. Again, if you don't want to do this, you can go ahead and hook it up to the gauge. I don't have the gauge with me right now. If you don't want to spill a lot of gas, you can hook it up to the gauge. Okay, next, we're gonna make sure that the gauge is at the right place. Remember, we got a full tank. Okay, as you can see, we have a full tank, so that's good. Now, what I want to do, I want to see if we can hear the fuel pump. The old one from here, I couldn't hear it, but I don't know if the video we're going to be able to hear it with the old one, but now let's see if we can hear the new one. I didn't hear the fuel pump when I put the key on, so now let's go ahead and turn on the car, make sure that everything is working fine. Let's test it out, drive it for a few minutes, and hopefully we have taken care of the problem. And we should be good to go. I have put everything back, the seat and everything, so let's go ahead and test drive it. Alright guys, so the car's been running. I turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off a few times, and you see it's starting right up. So that was the issue. We had a bad fuel pump with not enough pressure. But if you're not sure about your fuel pump, go ahead and make sure that your relays and your fuses are good before you start turning up the pump. Make sure that you have fuel coming out of the fuel lines, and work your way down, eliminating possible causes. And another thing, when you have a full tank, you have more probability that it will start, you won't have any issues. As half tank down, now that's when you start having problems. Now, yesterday she drove the car, and as you can see, we had a full tank. But last night when she tried to go home, the pump couldn't do it anymore. But remember, this morning I tried it and it didn't work. I pushed it back. I pushed the car back, and then it started right up. So you never know with the fuel pump. But that's it, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you on the next video.